Guys, I've just realised I have to revise for my hobby now as well. Why? What's up everyone, and welcome to the first episode of my series Law Talks, where I'll be trying to make law more understandable and more fun, I think, for everyone. That includes all you law students doing the LLB, the conversion, which is the GDL, the LPC, the BBTC, and so much more. Wow, there's so many law qualifications. And some of this isn't just limited to English law jurisdiction. We'll be talking about a lot of things that cross over to other jurisdictions as well. So make sure you have a watch of my videos and see if it helps you with your coursework. I really wish there was something like this during my undergrad, and that's why I want to make sure that all the undergrads don't have to go through the same thing I did, where I was struggling and there was no one to tell me simply what the concepts were. So let's kick off the series. Let's get lawyered! So what are we talking about today? Today I thought we could look at a bit of an introduction to contract law by looking at contract formation. What really does form a contract? We'll be talking about offer, acceptance, invitations to treat, the intention to be legally bound. So it's a lot to get through, but I'll try and simplify it as much as I can. Cool.
So I've recorded this video about 5 gazillion times by now. And basically, oh my god, it's so hard to explain contract law. But we're going to give it another go. And if it doesn't work after this, I'm just going to move on to easements and talk about land law and never touch contract law with a barge pole again. That's a hairbrush, not a barge pole. Who cares at this point? Right, contract law. So let's talk about what a contract is. Firstly, a contract, simplified to its basic core, is an agreement between two or more parties which is intended to be legally binding. Ooh. Anyway, so let's talk about what an agreement is as well. So an agreement consists of an offer and an acceptance. What is an offer? Now this is where it gets a little bit complicated. Okay, so sometimes an offer can be confused with an invitation to treat. What's the difference, you ask? Well, let's look at a few examples. Okay, let's look at an auctioneer ring scenario. So let's say my beautiful new phone, oh, you can see the reflection, let's not do that. My beautiful new phone is up for auction at an auction house. I'm the auctioneer and I say, hey, this iPhone 6s has only been owned once before. It contains a vast amount of data from none other than Mona B. Yeah, that's me. And the bids, well, they pour in because it's my phone. But, so what the auctioneer is essentially doing, he's not offering to sell it. He's saying, hey guys, I'm inviting you to give me some offers, and I'll maybe think about it. You may be the lucky one. She might just take it back. Who knows? Anyway, I'm not selling my phone. Please do not offer me anything for my phone. So, I got it last week. Why would I sell it? Anyway, besides the point. So, an auctioneer is inviting you to make an offer. That's an invitation to treat. Now, say my friend Mr. Hairbrush over here, oh, that actually works like an auction paddle, besides the point. So let's say I'm someone in the audience and I'm like, yeah, I'll make this offer. And this other guy's like, no, I'm going to make this offer. And I'm going to make this offer. And it goes up to £12,000 because that's what my phone is worth to me. So £12,000 and I've got all these offers. And it doesn't matter which one the highest one is. As the auctioneer, I can be like, ooh, might accept you 6,000, might accept you 12,000. It's up to the auctioneer then to make a decision. Now, obviously, the way auctions work, the higher you go, let's face it, the auctioneer isn't going to accept the 5,000 one when someone's offered 20,000 for it. They're going to pick the highest. They're going to get the most they can get for it. So that's an invitation to treat. Now, the offer in that scenario is a person bidding with their little paddle. It's a paddle, not a hairbrush. Of course, it's not a hairbrush. They're making the offer, and then once the offer is made, the auctioneer then also becomes the offeree. Now the offeree has the option to accept it. Now, what the thing is, though, is that the agreement, in order for it to be valid, must match the offer and the acceptance. So the price that was accepted must be reflected on the agreement. That will make it valid. Now, let's talk about the intention to be legally bound, because I feel like this could get tricky. Forgive me, I forgot to give you cases for that. Okay, so for the cases for offer and acceptance, I would say, and to be honest, I haven't read them in a while, but I read them when I was in first year and I needed to read them and I never needed them again. But if you really are having trouble with offer and acceptance, I've got three cases which you can read, and they can really help to help you to make sense of it all. Now, the three cases that I'm going to name, they're also going to be listed in the description box below, so make sure you check that out if you miss it when I say it now. So the three cases are Brogden versus Metropolitan Railway Company, 1877, Lord Denning, my love, in Gibson versus Manchester City Council, 1979, and finally Percy Trentham Limited versus Archital Luxfer Limited. They really picked the most difficult name ever, 1993. Now also remember, before the offeree can accept and think, oh yeah, that contract's done, like that's agreed, it's all sorted, that sale's happening, I've got monies in the banks. No, you don't. Okay, you need to make sure the acceptance is communicated properly to the offeror. Until and unless that acceptance is so communicated, no contract comes into existence. Now, it must be communicated by the offeree. Oh, that's my phone. Or someone authorized by the offeree. Okay, so let's go back to our auctioneering example. The auctioneer is selling it either on behalf of the state or a bank or God knows who else. As long as they are authorized to finally accept the offer, then it's cool. They can do so. But they really need to be authorized to do it, otherwise the contract is void again. So two cases in this regard. There's Powell versus Lee, which is a 1908 case. I know contract law cases, I mean, they're really old, and which means they're a lot wordier and hard to understand, but try and read the summaries of these cases at least. And the other one for acceptance is Felthouse versus Bindley. I'm going to go with Bindley, it sounds better. 1862. It's even older. Yes. So much fun. And then I would also recommend that you read Entores versus Miles Far East Corporation, 1955. The Brimnes, 1975. And Brinkibon versus Stahag, Stahl, 1983. My phone won't stop going off, and I don't know why I don't put it on silent. Sorry. Okay, so those are my recommended cases for this one. Now let's talk about the intention to be legally bound. Okay, so the intention to create legal relations. Now there are 5 points I'm going to mention here, and I do have notes written on them. So I'm going to be using the notes a bit, so if my eyes are wandering and I'm not paying attention to your beautiful face right now, I'm so sorry. So the first thing is first, is the contracting parties' mind will be obvious to enter a serious contract. What the hell does that mean, right? So when two parties decide to enter into the environment of a contract, so they're like, hey, let's do this, yeah, let's do it, woo, shake hands, their mind will understand the contents of the contract. And that's what I spoke about in the beginning, about how we're going to talk a little bit about capacity. So they have to be in sound mind to actually have the intention to do so. Number 2, If there is no intention to create legal relations, the contract would not be enforceable, legal, and binding. So if party A is like, hey, let's do this, and B is like, nah, I want to be legally bound to you. You shady. You real shady. There's no intention there. So while one might have the intention, the other doesn't. So if that's the scenario, unfortunately, your contract's void, man. And thirdly, without intention to create legal relations, the parties can't sue each other. Now that makes sense. If there's no contract to enforce, it's not legally binding or anything. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, you can't sue someone for not wanting to be your legal friend. It's not a thing. Number 4. Without intention to create legal relations, the contract may become a mere promise. So, it's like party A, party B again, and let's say they say, yeah, let's do this. And they're like, yeah, maybe, possibly. Yeah, you know what? I'll think about, I'll do it. I'll do it. Maybe, but just, let's not do it legally. Like, why do we have to sign this? Like, why do we have to exchange the money now? Maybe we'll do it in like 10 days or something like that. No, that's not an intention to create legal relations. It's like, hey, I might do it, but I might not, and it's a bit of a mere promise, and it might not actually amount to anything in the long run. So, again, there's no contract here because there is no offer, acceptance, or intention to be legally bound. Well, there could be offer and acceptance, but there is no intention to be legally bound, and that is one of the main points. And finally, without intention to create legal relations, the contract may lack the binding effect. Let's face it, if you don't want to enter into something legally, there's no way you can enforce that. And if you can't enforce it, it's not really binding. If you say, I mean, you can talk about how you can have an oral contract and you say you're going to do something, and it's great if you fulfill it. But it's always better to get it in writing because unless it's written, who's to say that you did approve a contract, right? So anyway, this has been formation of a contract, and it's the first part of the Law Talk series, and I hope you've had fun watching it because I'm really stressed out now and I need a nap and maybe ice cream, and I need to reconsider my lifestyle options a lot. So I think it's safe to say that this episode is over, and I hope you've been lawyered. I'm gonna put a little more pizzazz in it, but I'm so brain tired right now, I can't even think. Alright, well, I'll see you later.